Dartmoor is without doubt the last great wilderness of southern England. It can look gentle, picturesque even, at sunrise on a summer's day. But it's still wild at heart. Of all the creatures that call the moor home, the Dartmoor pony is the best known. Exactly when the ponies began to live and breed on Dartmoor is a question that no one can answer with any degree of precision. Left to graze and breed on the moor, the animals evolved into exceptionally tough and hardy ponies, domesticated but with an independence of spirit born out of their constant struggle against the elements. Feed is the short tufty type of grass rather than the lush meadows of the lowlands, filled out with heather and gorse. For shelter the ponies use the massive boulders and stone walls of the high moor.
I think the first thing that comes to mind with the Dartmoor pony is the wonderful temperament and its adaptability. It makes the most perfect ride for a young child, but you put an older child or an adult on it and it immediately sort of gingers up and gives them a good ride, and could even be, quite strong, but it'll immediately, when you put a small child on it, it's quite extraordinary how they adapt to their rider. And they are the most beautiful ponies. I mean, the best of them have the conformation and the quality, you could say, almost of a middleweight hunter, but they still retain the wonderful pony character and robustness. And I think it's this that makes them, well, for me anyway, the absolute tops of the pony world, the native pony world. I think the breed show is a shop window for breeders to display their wares, and it's the most marvellous forum, of course, for people to come from all over the country and from abroad to see the cream of the breed.
Now, I've got an important message to those lucky enough to win a cup. Exhibitors who win cups will be asked to contribute £4 per cup towards engraving costs. And the engraving will be done by the Dartmoor Pony Society. Now, I'm going to give you an unofficial result, ladies and gentlemen, in the stallion class. I haven't received the official judge's sheet, but it looks to me from here, and in fact I've got confirmation this is coming to me as though it's 103 is the winner. That's Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Roberts' Hisley Salvo, 12-year-old bay stallion.
Few shows are without a class of Dartmoor ponies, and the annual breed show at Bicton in South Devon has grown into a very special day out for everyone connected with the Dartmoors. This is among the highlights of the year. Breeders come from all over Britain and from nearby European countries in pursuit of those elusive prizes and the esteem of their fellow Dartmoor enthusiasts. None of this would happen without the Dartmoor Pony Society.
The Dartmoor Pony Society was founded in 1924, but in fact the National Pony Society, which was then called the Polar Pony Society, had opened a section in their stud book in 1895, I think. And it wasn't until 1924 that the Dartmoor Pony Society was founded. And this didn't last very long because they were soon in financial difficulties, because the ponies really had awfully little value at that time, and there was virtually no interest outside the West Country. So in 1932 they had to close the society, or at least they went bankrupt, and they had insufficient money even to pay their secretary. And it was then that Sylvia Calmady Hamlin took it on, debts and all, and continued to act as secretary and pay for everything, including the show, for 30 years. Another very touching thing which I learnt from her trustees after she had died, that she had, in fact, a row of cottages near her, which were all tenanted. The owner had wanted to sell and was going to evict these tenants who had been there throughout their lives. And she bought cottages for what was really a very large sum in those days, and she gave each cottage to their tenant. But the marvellous thing was that she did it anonymously. And I think this typifies her, absolutely. I think her great love was the Dartmoor Pony. In fact, she had before the war, a number of breeds. Polar ponies, Shetland ponies, Welsh, as well as her Dartmoors. And at the outbreak of war, she had 110 ponies, actually, and she was given a week or a fortnight or something to dispose of all but 10. And many of them had to be shot. But she felt that the most important was to keep the Dartmoors, the nucleus of the Dartmoors, so all the rest went, and they were absolute top ponies of their breeds. And she kept the 10 Dartmoors. And from those, actually, all the top present-day show ponies are descended. You could say virtually every pony entered in a show descended from those.
Bay 11-year-old stallion. White winner Darwin, the white winner Sorceress. And in reserve, there's number 161.
Sylvia Calmady Hamlin, on behalf of the Dartmoor Pony Society, presented a pony that she had bred, and she presented it to the Queen for Prince Charles, getting in pretty smartly before the Welsh offered to do the same. And this pony, in fact, was an enormous success and went to Sybil Smith, who, in fact, taught all the royal family to ride, and told me years later, when the pony was nearly 30 years old, that it was quite the best pony she'd ever had for teaching young children.
The careful tending of bloodlines by breeders like the late Sylvia Calmady Hamlin is one thing, but out on the moor, the quality of the wild ponies was declining. Something had to be done. These mares, being rounded up at the new takes or enclosed land near Huckabee, are part of an exciting new project called the Dartmoor Pony Moorland Scheme. With encouragement and funding from Prince Charles via the Duchy of Cornwall and the Dartmoor National Park, the heart of the scheme is to put animals straight off the moor with pedigree stallions in the expectation of improved progeny. Initially there were just 17 mares from 7 owners, with a single stallion supplied by a duchy tenant. That was back in 1988, but since then Moorland Scheme has grown and grown, with the mares being put forward, outrunning the land available in the new takes. The support of local people to take part in the traditional drift of the ponies is vital, and a traditional part of the autumn landscape on the moor.
No, all the way back. Go on.
Public interest in the scheme has risen markedly as the years have gone by, with the Park Authority offering guided walks around the scheme to those who are interested, out of the 8 to 9 million visitors who come to Dartmoor each year. Beautiful Dartmoor may be, but the ponies have to compete with other farming uses of the land, and in recent years have been losing out to animals that produce better economic returns. 40 years ago there were estimated to be around 30,000 ponies on Dartmoor, but that number has now dropped to around 3,000. The ponies are beginning to be appreciated as quite as vital to the landscape as the streams, hills or woodland that crisscross the moorland.